Have you on the podcast.
Thank you so much for the invite. I'm glad to be here and glad to talk with you and see where our conversation goes.
I don't know many people named Eileen. All I can think about is the song "Come On, Eileen" when I see your name.
Yes, yes. And people often have that as the song on their phone when I'm calling.
There you go. But I digress. So I like to ask my guests this question: what's the best piece of advice you ever received?
So that's a very interesting question. So I'd like to share with you that I didn't receive this advice verbally. It was an experience that I had, not particularly a good one, but it just became, I realized it. So my father died when I was a teenager, suddenly of a heart attack. And I was like, oh my gosh, this life is short. And my father was a joyful man. So, live life joyfully. I'm glad he lived, every day happy for the most part. The other was, oh my gosh, we have to prepare for this. We have to prepare for shielding ourselves from hurt and pain. We have to prepare for uncertainty. So, those two thoughts or advice or focus have been in my life, all of my life, really well weaved into the fabric of who I am and how I show up in the world.
How old was your dad when he passed away? Just out of curiosity.
He was in his 50s. He was
Mm.
57, 58. He healthy man. He had some hypertension and he was a bit overweight. And I would have loved to have seen him, live longer. He just that was hard. So yeah, he was in his 50s.
Yeah, I was wondering because a lot of times things in our life, trauma or events, shape what we end up doing in the future. And I was wondering how much that impacted your book on midlife, new life. So
It did. It impacted that's my focus, is helping people prepare for uncertainty. Um, Not like over prepare, because which I was doing initially, but um, um, doing some preparation, and then also trusting that you have the skills and the talents and abilities and resources to help you move through.
yeah, that's amazing. I love to ask my guests too, especially as we are in midlife now. Um, who are some people in your life who served as a mentor, inspiration for you in your journey? It's a chance for you to kind of give them a shout out and thank them for having such an impact on you.
Yeah, what a nice question. So, I would have to say my parents. They were both very kind people. My father was a joyful, spontaneous, um, had good sense of humor, and my mother was a planner and more serious. So I learned from them those traits, joyfulness and planning, and try to balance them out. Um, and then two more people. One is my husband. Wonderful support. He has a well balanced life, great model, and always has been there for me and for many people. And then also his mom, which was a very interesting lady, amazing lady. So she always had people coming to visit her. She always had something in the oven. I don't know the oven was on 24/7, but there was always something coming out of the oven. There was always coffee, and the joke was that she was born with pot holder hands and a serving tray in her hands. And what was neat about her was I guess she nurtured people in the conversations she had, and she nourished people with her food. So her sense of hospitality is another thing that I bring in to my personal and professional life. Those people I stand on I guess the shoulders of many mentors, but those four.
Well, that's so cool. I love that. And you brought in your mother-in-law. That's always kind of cool.
Yes. What a neat lady. And when she died, there was hundreds of people trying to get in to the church to pay respect. She touched that many people's lives. What a interesting and kind lady.
See, that's what I want. I want my funeral to be where it's at a stadium, but I don't know if that's gonna happen.
It might be, and hopefully it won't be for a long time.
That's right, exactly.
Stadium.
So, Eileen, you've had a very rich and diverse career. A nurse, a coach, a new author. What inspired your transition into coaching, particularly when you talk about midlife and beyond? We talked a little bit about, your father, but what else kind of led you to this new avenue in your life?
Yeah, yeah. So, one of the things that I loved about my work, I worked at a hospital, 904-bed hospital, very big teaching hospital. I loved the patients that I had. They were all midlife and beyond people. So I was familiar, with their physical illness. I was familiar with how things went around, how that illness impacted them. So that was one thing, the comfort with that. And also, I saw technology coming in. And so it's great to have technology for diagnosis and helping treat patients. But in the room, I actually had two patients. I had my patients who I wanted to direct my attention to, but I had the machine and I had to tend to the machine, its alarms, it's calling me, titrating the machine. So the technology kind of took me away from the most important person, even though it was an assistance there. The other thing was 9/11. So I live in DC, Washington, Virginia area. Pentagon was like 10 minutes from our hospital. And 9/11 happened. So people were more focused on not only, okay, I want to be healthier, I want to get better, but I want to do what's important. I want to have a meaningful life. And then the last thing that inspired me was, like, I thought was kind of a kick from somewhere, but I was in my garden, I was gardening. I really don't know what I tripped over, but I broke my wrist. I fell forward, I broke my wrist, and I couldn't work as a nurse in the hospital, and I developed complications. So I used that time. I could use my left hand, and I explored how could I expand my services to expand, beyond the physical realm. And I found coaching, and that's how I got into it.
So you almost like tripped into coaching.
Yes, yes. I guess it was meant to be. I felt like it was a nudge, or maybe it was a kick forward.
That's a whole new meaning to stumble into something. But
Yes. Yeah.
so you have a neat title, the Midlife Muse. My title is kind of my own created title, the man, myth, and legend. But I'm curious about your title. How did you come to up with that title, and kind of tell us what it means for you?
Okay, so that title, or phrase came about. I was teaching a class, and it was called Creative Life Design for those in midlife and beyond. And I had taken a lot of creativity classes, and I said that, I have, writing prompts and I have exercises, and this is going to tap into your creativity because that's where all the fun is. And so I said, this will be like accessing your own personal muse. And so one person says, "Oh, well, you're our midlife muse." And I was like, "Oh, that's kind of neat." And so it kind of stuck. And then another client who never took this class had said that to me, and I thought, there's there's something there. And then for me, it just means that I help people discover what's important to them, what's fun, what will have their life being more alive for them.
I love that. So your new book, you co-author with others, the Midlife, New Life, Consciously Living in Midlife, emphasizes kind of living consciously. What does that look like in practical terms to people who are either on the doorsteps of midlife or kind of right smack dab in the middle of midlife?
Yeah, yeah. So, Paul Ward, who had the idea for writing this book, and Sandy Demmer as my co-writers, we believe about it's not just being on autopilot because we've lived so much time and now we have time left, and so we want to be conscious. We want to be intentional about what that next life looks like and designing it. And so it can be very, practical. So you can expand it. So one is like a conscious check-in. So, let's say, Keith, career, and you have something, some questions about where to go forward and live consciously in that area. You do a conscious check-in. What's important to me now? How will this impact other areas of my life? How will I make decisions? How will that play out? So that's maybe like a short check-in, a conscious check-in. And then we developed a wheel, which was called a conscious living wheel, and it's 11 spokes to that wheel with our life purpose right in the middle of that. And so you could expand that to look at your whole life, practical, and saying, oh, what do I want to do in career? What do I want to do in relationships? How is this now and how would it be? And then because our wheel has 11 components or spokes to it, I mean, you could expand it and take the whole year and say, okay, for the month of January, I'm going to start out with career. Or I might want to say, I want to do some things with my health. And so that's the practicality of it. You look to see where the gap is, and then you create your vision.
What was it like writing a book with other authors? I mean, I did my own, and it was just me. I had to fight with myself about creative ideas here and there. But what's it like writing, co-authoring a book with other people?
Yeah, that's a very good question. So it was very positive. Like I said, Paul had the idea, and he had 35 people that he put out an email and says, "I'm interested in writing a book with others, and I'm looking for two, co-authors." And he had 35 people. And I would say that Paul was kind of an alchemist because he picked two Sandy and I to work with him. We're all equal partners in this, but we all had different personalities, and we all had different specialties. But somehow, we got along really well. We met initially. We met every Monday, and for hours, and we worked on things. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of joy. There were things that we didn't agree on, and we had a 2 to 1 type of decision making. But for the most part, it was a very good experience. And I know not everybody has that, but I like my colleagues, and we worked hard to get that end result. And I think it was is positive, and there's still things to figure out as we go forward with marketing of our book and presenting.
So you have 11 chapters, kind of like 11 spokes in your wheel.
Yes.
Of those spokes, which one resonates most with you?
Oh, resilience. That goes back to, how are we going to prepare and figure things out, and how can we soften those really sharp edges of some changes that are painful, and some of them are about our impermanence.
I love that. So, how's your book being received? I saw some of the reviews. You had a lot of really great reviews in the book. How's it being received in the world now?
Thank you. Yeah, the book is doing well. It's being received well. We're getting a lot of good comments about it, how it's helpful. I just came back from a place called Chautauqua Institution and presented a 3-day class on what else? Resilience, and that went over really well. People wanted me to sign their book. So I'm happy with the results, and that's important to us because we have a message that midlife is a time for possibilities, and what can we do with that? What can I Okay, so I when I work with my clients, I always have like a little canvas,
Oh, that's
and
so cute.
and what are we going to put on it? We all have our skills and talents and life experience, so it's not an empty canvas, but you might want to rearrange things and move things around and add things and take things off. So
Can you think of a story of a client you've coached with some of the things you're learning in midlife that resonates with you about how they received the information or progressed?
yeah, that's a good question. I work with people sometimes in the intelligence community, so they're very focused on mission. They're very hardworking people, and their identity is very much tied up with who they are. So it takes a while for them to kind of think about who they might be without their work. Because they are their work, they've done very well with that, and all other areas of different types of work. And let's see, I don't necessarily want to identify a
No, you don't wanna do that.
yeah. um, but it's making it fun, and so I'm a list person. I get a lot done with lists, and I took a lot of creativity classes because there's more than one right answer. There's more than one way to figure out what to do, and creativity is like the magic potion to get you there. So allowing them to tap into their own creativity and think of ways to do that. So I may suggest, hey, why don't you go and take a field trip to a bookstore and see what interests you, because they've been so busy, they've been overseas, they haven't really thought about themselves. They just know they don't want to do what they're doing anymore. And so thinking of positive ways, different books, they like experiences to get them out of their mind, um, and more into fun.
Are you discovering that your clients, maybe more than anything else, there's one common hurdle that most people face with this whole midlife transition?
Yeah, that's interesting. That's an interesting question, Keith. Identity, perhaps, is a real challenge, just because I think maybe the area where I live, where people are very, I don't want to say workaholics, but very focused on their work, and left other components of that wheel, like relationships, like fun, like creativity, like maybe saving or helping, humanity. And this is where they can take all of their talents and their skills and their ability, and because they want to do something, they're doers, but they also want to enjoy life. And so as you are a bridge builder, you can be a bridge builder to others. You can help people or have a special cause, and they like that idea, like moving forward to helping being a mentor or civic engagement, a community garden. People have a lot of different talents that they can bring from their past. But identity, I guess, what would be, the issue. Who do they want to be? How do they want to spend their time? Purpose and meaning.
So you are just become a Amazon best-selling author. Congratulations on the work that you
Thank
did.
you. Thank you.
What's been the most surprising part about that aspect of publishing the book?
About, like, publishing the book? About,
Well,
okay.
becoming a best-selling author.
Oh, okay. I guess is the idea of writing a book in itself. It was a 4-year journey for us. A lot of work, a lot of research. We interviewed more than 50 people, and that was very interesting and exciting to listen to people's stories. Um, and then so that, writing journey was 4 years, and then we were like, "Yay, we did it. We look what we did. We published that book, and it's out there, and it's doing well." But there's another part is marketing and sharing what you do. And so, we find that, doing podcasts, and, like, talking to people like you, Keith, about the value we feel we bring with our books. So that's a new path. We're always learning and seeing how that goes. It's been fun. It's also been challenging, and finding the right podcast, and yours is very good because you have a lot of interesting people that come with different, like, about uniting our nation. About, I like the idea of bridge building, so finding the ones that resonate with us and with people that we're trying to reach.
So, for the young writer who's out there who's about to publish, what advice do you have for young authors?
That's a good one too. So advice for young authors is, hmm Is to do it. You have probably a lot to contribute. Find out. There's we have access now to the internet to find out what is your area of expertise, and share that. Even if it's a small book, it's a way to start. There's a lot of writing support groups out there. There's writing prompts. There's writing groups that you can share your writing with. So yeah, do it. It's a creative thread that you can share with your family, your friends, and you can add to it. You can have a series. You can
There you go.
have
You could have a podcast.
a podcast.
So for the person who is midlife and they're feeling stuck right now, and they're just kind of coming to you going, is there just a small step I can take to just get out of this feeling of just being stuck in one place?
Well, my I have my initial thought was, oh gosh, do something fun. Just get out of the house and get away from it. And then the other thing, the other part is like the plan part. Just take a sheet of paper and see what is important to you now. What is important to you. You write those down, and that can be your compass, because that can be your values. We operate from our values, what's important to us, and that will lead to your next step. Oh, how could I? That's important to me. So how could I follow music, the path of music. What could I do with that? Or I like to read, or like to help, young kids, develop skills in acting. It could be anything, but whatever like makes you feel alive, and write that down. And I use this in my classes, but Martin Luther King said, you don't have to see the whole darn staircase. Just see the first step to get you going. And that could be a good first step for you.
I love it. So, well, something new I've started on the podcast this year is
Okay.
we have a surprise question. You have to pick a number between 1 and 4 for your surprise question.
Oh, wow, wow. Um, I any number, so I'm gonna say 4.
All right, question number 4. If you were stranded on a desert island and you could choose one person to keep you company, who would it be?
Oh, that's an interesting one. Um, I would say my husband. I mean, he's a great guy. He's a lot of fun. We have a lot of conversation together. He loves nature. He has a lot of interests. So I'd say my husband.
That's a good safe one.
Yeah. Yeah, number 4 was pretty good. Oh, Keith.
Oh my word. So what does a magical midlife look like to you? If you're
Uh,
trying to define it for yourself, what does a magical midlife look like for you?
yeah, yeah. I would say is doing what I love to do, which is my passion. My passion project is working with people with figuring out what do they want to do next, and allowing not allowing them, but providing a platform for them to think creatively. But it also is like sprinkling, your day with fun things. So simple things that don't cost anything. Going out at night, looking at the stars. The other night we have fireflies or lightning bugs, whatever you call them, but oh my gosh, you cannot capture them on camera. They're too magical. But they
Mm,
light up the sky and the fields, and I'm in awe over that. So those types of things, just with nature. I love going to new restaurants. We tried a new Indian restaurant the other day, different foods, um, great conversations with people. I'm always curious about what motivates person. How did you decide this versus this? How did you get there? How did you choose that? So great conversations. Um, just adding those things that you love. And so for me, that's what it looks like. What does it look like for you? What question? There's a question for you.
that's a good question. For me, it's I'm learning to I'm kind of reflecting back on because I just finished my doctorate degree in my
Oh,
midlife, so I guess it's part of
wonderful.
my midlife crisis. I wasn't really planning on doing that, so now I'm decided. What do I do with all this education I just spent the last 3 years getting? So I wanted
Yeah.
to. My new book was like, I need to put this into a format that people want to read. Nobody wants to read my dissertation with all the different charts and all that, unless you're
Uh-huh.
a geek. So how do
Uh-huh.
I communicate this in a way that people can take it and actually utilize all the things that I learned. So I'm trying
Uh-huh.
to figure out how to do that in my next phase of life.
Yeah. Well, what would make it fun?
That is fun because I'm trying to solve a problem that I've been working on for most of my my career
Uh,
of how to help churches to make changes effectively. So
yeah. Well, it sounds like that book is going to be is a really good one because you talk about how they were resilient and how more people were coming back into the church, and I want to read about it. So in
yeah,
my interview with you,
yeah. There you go. And our interview together, right?
yeah.
So Eileen, as you think about your midlife journey, what do you want
Mhm.
your legacy to be?
I want my legacy to be that I made a difference in people's lives. So, as a nurse, I lightened the load. I made their recovery smoother, easier. I helped them be more resilient. I hope that my legacy would be I helped them also, people that in midlife, to be bridge builders to the next part of their life, where they can have maybe more of like a life designed on purpose, the intentionality of it. And also, we accumulate items, things, but we also accumulate gifts and talents and skills and knowledge, and to share from that overflow and to bring it forward and give it back and be a bridge builder to maybe a mentor, because you certainly get and receive more than you give in these experiences, for sure. Um, so that's what I'd like my legacy to be.
That's great. So, as we wrap up our conversation, what key takeaways do you want to leave with the midlife crisis people? And
Well, um, midlife is not always a crisis. It can, it can be a crossroads. It can be an invitation to see what you might want to create and put on your canvas. So the takeaway is don't miss it. It's an opportunity. Like 1924, 100 years ago, we were probably living to 55. Now we have 30 more years, or 25 to 30 more years. So they're bonus years. What will you do with them? They're for you. They're a gift of time. And if you're intentional, you can get more of what you want, or just to think about it, to make good on that gift you got, and enjoy it. So that's what I
where can people find your book, The Midlife New Life, and connect with you on social media?
so the book is at Amazon, and it's at Barnes and Noble, and I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on X, um, I'm on Facebook, um, and that they could reach me at passagewayscoaching.net. And I'm very open to conversation, or questions, so they can email me at Eileen, Eileen, at passagewayscoaching.net.
Well, Eileen, thanks so much for writing this book, for helping us all to remember that we do have purpose. And if we find that purpose and identify with that, it makes that midlife transition a little bit easier for us as we can pour into something new the next chapter of our life and live out those next, hopefully, 30 years or so
Yeah.
more fruitfully and more enjoyably.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you. I also want to share that if people wanted to take the thinking on midlife further, that if they go to midlifenewlife.net, they can download a free chapter, and they can also download, there are about 20 questions, but they're like five from each chapter to be
Hmm.
more reflective, and so that would be something that, you could take it further and see where that goes. But
Awesome.
this has been great. I enjoyed talking with you, Keith. I really have, and I wish you the best. Thank you for the invitation, and this has been fun.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I like it when my guests say it's fun as opposed to almost the worst 30 minutes of my life.
that, that would not be good. Oh
Well,
God.
Eileen, blessings on the work that you guys have done. You guys have put together a phenomenal resource for those of us who are going through midlife and looking forward to it and enjoying the time that God has given us.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you. Well, I wish you well, and look to read more about you in your book too.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So, are we still on or no?